Hi there. In this lecture we see Bobby Fischer against Eugenio Maciel German. We have a very interesting opening actually, very unusual in a way. E4 from Bobby Fischer, E5, knight f3, knight f6. Now the Petrov in itself is not that unusual. It's Fischer's treatment here, D4. This is a very interesting choice for a repertoire, a bit of a surprising move. It is one of the top 5 most popular choices. Usually knight takes e5 is a popular way of handling the Petrov with an even position. So Fischer is actually creating some imbalance actually with d4. We see e takes e5, knight e4, queen e2. So this seems to break some opening principle, the bishop being blocked in, but white wants the castle queen side exotically. After knight c5, knight takes d4. Knight c6, knight takes c6. We have double pawns as well. And white stands rather well here. After f4, bishop e7, queen f2, a very nice move in that bishop e3 will put pressure on c5. We see d5, bishop e3, knight d7. And now white does indeed castle queenside. So, and actually, Fischer has turned a potentially very, very boring opening with Petrov into quite an exciting position here. Black castles kingside, and we see g4. A slight downside of this is that this rook is currently unprotected. And these issues, these theoretical issues, quite often when playing against resourceful opponents, tend to rise to the surface a lot more quickly than we could possibly imagine. We see bishop b4, knight e2, knight b6, knight d4. So that hits c6. We see queen e8. If bishop d7, Fischer could actually try and just blockade on the dark squares with knight b3, and ideally to exchange off the dark square bishop and have a really nice juicy outpost on c5. So we see actually after knight d4, queen e8, and now c3, bishop goes back to e7, f5, and now c5, knight b4, and here is where things get extremely interesting. Maybe Fischer wasn't prepared for this next shocking move. It's a very, very good move from black, very resourceful, tapping into a kind of micro downside, the rook on h1. Can you guess what black plays here if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video? So Fischer's opponent plays a strong move. Okay. And that move is d4. Black is trying for queen c6 and that to be check and win that rook. Yeah, bishop f4 is played. If c takes, as an example, c takes, we can see queen c6 check. Ouch. Yeah, so Fischer may be taken aback by this move. Rook takes d4, the same thing. There's no backfire on taking the rook. It's pinning the bishop. So very, very interesting. We have bishop f4, slightly putting Fischer on the back foot. But the follow-up isn't brilliant. Immediately, the follow-up is a bit of a letdown on that strong move. D takes c3. This fragments black's pawns. Intuitively, we can look at the fragmentation, and it's not very nice after d takes. Instead, here, if black played accurately, the most accurate move is a6. And white could actually be in severe trouble here. For example, knight takes c7, queen c6 again hits the rook, hits the knight. And this kind of thing is just better. Even if black loses the exchange, there's a lot of pressure on white's king here. Black's actually doing very well overall. So yeah, this is a very, very interesting situation. If we look at this again, if knight takes a6, again, black's getting a load of counterplay, hitting the bishop, hitting b2. Yeah, it's good counterplay. But with d takes, black had a particular idea in mind, which looks lucrative in this position as well, to try it for knight a4, hoping maybe for knight takes, queen takes, with strong pressure on Fischer's king. But Fischer finds a way to put a spanner in the works here. Can you guess Fischer's move? Very, very strong. If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, what would you play in this position? Okay. Very interesting tactic indeed. Bishop b5. This takes the sting out of black's attack. We have rook takes, knight takes a4, so a disconnection style tactic. And black's pawns are still left diced. Not only that, not only are black's pawns not very dynamic now, white is threatening to crash through on the king side. We see rook b4, knight c3, bishop b7, the rook moves to the center, away from the attack and threatening f6 now. King h8, f6, bishop d8, we see bishop g5, rook d4, f takes g7, and this pierces the f6 square, and all of a sudden it's curtains ready. Queen h4, threatening queen g5. Black takes on d1, knight takes d1, and the game ended here. So a very brief 30-move game, in contrast to some of other Fischer's very long grinds in this tournament. This is a bit of a rest day for Fischer after knight takes d1, black resigning. If bishop takes f6, white just plays e takes, threatening the queen, threatening queen g5 mating. So for example like this. So yeah, a crushing game in the end. So knight takes d1, the game ending here. One other option, by the way, I will point out here, after bishop b5, pardon me, after knight takes c3, in this position, instead of knight a4, black's best chance was actually, it seems, c4. So if f6, it seems as though black could take here and live to tell the tale after check and rook b7. This could be a way of white only having a small advantage. So yeah, the key move, instead of knight a4, c4, to try and make the most out of the black position, is actually a resource. But yeah, overall, we get some instructive points from this little game. I think if you're playing against Petrov, we've got a repertoire choice. d4, this is third most popular in the online reference books that I have. So d4, and then this e5 idea. It's very, very interesting with the idea of castling queenside. So queen f2, bishop e3, it makes for a dynamic, interesting position. But yeah, it's funny how g4, this back throw on h1 pops up quite quickly. I mean, this move was pretty forcing, threatening to structural damage. And then knight b6 is kind of menacing. White has to cover c4 against knight c4, it seems. And yeah, things sped up here after f5. Yeah, this immediate c5 and d4. And if knight went back to b3, you know, black's got dynamic possibilities like queen a4 and knight c4. So yeah, very, very interesting, this d4 move. Maybe, you know, taking Fischer by surprise. But yeah, the follow-up needed to be good here. The follow-up needed to be a6. So yeah, very, very interesting game. If a6, this would have been a completely different game with a good advantage to black, it seems, in the variations. But yeah, that's the way it is. Fischer's tactical resourcefulness saved the day there with bishop b5 against the intended continuation. I'll take you to the game end. Crushing game end position with no defense against getting mated. Okay. Thanks very much. Hi guys. If you enjoyed this video lecture, you might want to get more at my course, Kingscrusher TV/Bobby Fischer, which I had a blast creating, over 25 hours of video content. I tried to get the most instructive juice out of every single game covered and picking the most important games from this period. I had an absolute blast creating it, and I think you'll have an absolute blast checking it out. And it's at a big discount code with this link, you know, Kingscrusher TV/Bobby Fischer has the discount code. So I hope you do check that out. Thanks very much.